morning, everyone. My name is Julie. I am the owner and founder of Lady Failte. You are watching this video on either my Facebook group or my YouTube channel, which is Lady Faulte's Light Healing. So welcome, whether you're watching live with me now or going to be watching later on the replay. So thank you for watching, joining. We're going to hop right in here today because I'm actually running a little bit late. So let me go right in and get some people invited here real quick. If I can. I don't know if there's a thing of inviting people real quick. I do it as fast as I can, but I overslept this morning. My alarm went off and I shut it off and thought I'll just lay here for a second, and a second was like 30 minutes. So I fell right back to sleep, and so yeah, so when I woke up, it was like, that mad panic of, oh my God, I'm going to be late. I need to get ready. So got ready as fast as I could. So I'm not too late. Normally I want to be going live about 7:15, and I got on here about 7:25. So about 10 minutes late. So not horrible, but definitely my morning was a little rushed this morning. Just been so busy lately, and just really I hate to say it because I really don't like winter. I don't like the cold, but I'm really kind of looking forward to it quieting down a little bit. Like every weekend in September is booked. Every weekend in October is booked. Almost every weekend in November is booked. And then, of course, then we just get into the holidays. So I don't know where my slowdown time is here, but my body is telling me that I need to take it easy. I need to rest and relax. But again, part of it is my own fault. I'm not very good. I love to take care of other people, and I'll tell people little remedies and things they can try and all this stuff they can do. And I don't do it myself. So yeah, that's an issue. I gave a friend of mine some pain stuff, and she, her boyfriend tried it, and he loved it. And I'm like, okay, well, how come I don't ever use that on myself? My back hurts all the time. Why the hell don't I make a bottle for myself and use it? And yeah, it's just because I'm busy, and don't always take care of myself. So I've been having a headache for like weeks now. But part of it is because I'm dehydrated. And I've been really tired, but that's partly because I've been on the go and I haven't been taking my vitamins and I'm dehydrated. So all my own fault. Today we're going to talk about Virgos. We're going to smudge here a little bit and get our candle going and pull our chakra card. But Virgo is, out of all the signs, the one I know the best. And it's not I have Virgo in my chart, but it's not one of my main signs. My husband is a Virgo. I know the Virgo better than I know my own signs. But I tell you what, in knowing the things I know now about Virgo, make things about him, I don't want to say more easily accepted, but understood. Like why he does some of the things he does sometimes, and why he says things the way he says things, or things like that. And it's no excuse. Like you can't just like go do what you want and be like, well, I'm a Virgo, or whatever the sign is. I didn't really show you the candle. Our candle for this month is balance. We've talked a lot about that going into shadow season, about keeping things in balance. About keeping, you have to have some degree of judgment and some degree of pride and confidence and things. But if they get out of balance, if you have no judgment, then you could be potentially putting yourself in danger. And if you're being over judgy, your shadow is showing. Let me just pull the cards out here and then we'll get going. I'm kind of going a little faster this morning just because we're up a little late, and I want to be able to talk about the Virgo. All right, so last week we had Sacred Serenity, so we're going to go ahead and put that back in the deck. So I'm still, apparently that's the card we're going to use today. I was just going to say while I was shuffling that I've been doing the replays in the evening. So tonight at 7 o'clock, I will do a watch party and do the replay so that I can be on there with you guys. So the first time I did it, I couldn't figure out how to share it. So that wasn't very productive. When I did it the other day, I don't know what I did, but I couldn't see any comments. So I was like sitting here watching the replay, and there was numbers showing up of who was people popping in and people popping out and stuff. And I'm like, all right, well, that's fine. But nobody's commenting. So I'm like, well, I don't know if this is really accomplishing anything. And then when I shut the watch party off, all these comments came up. So somehow or another, I must have hidden the comments so I wasn't seeing them. So that wasn't very productive either. So hopefully tonight I can get on there. I can figure out how to invite everybody. I can figure out how to see comments. I saw comments the other day when I did it, but I couldn't figure out how to invite people. And so then I figured out how to invite people, and then I wasn't getting any comments. So bear with me. It's a work in progress. So we have got the unlimited prosperity. And so money is energy, and we hold a precious choice whether to prevent or encourage its flow. Are your channels for giving and receiving open wide enough? Do you allow the vibration of prosperity to radiate both from you and towards you? Reflect on your resources and how you can use them to create more abundance for both yourself and those around you. Remember also to give back with an open heart for all that is coming your way. Give thanks before you receive. And so this is for your solar plexus chakra. A good crystal would be yellow fluorite, and the herb is basil. I don't have yellow fluorite. I do have a little piece of fluorite here, so you can see it. I don't think I'd say that's yellow fluorite. No, I guess maybe it is yellow fluorite. It's kind of hard to tell there. In the light, I think you guys are just seeing it look more like a quartz, but it does have a yellowish, greenish tint to it. I was going to say I'll put it behind the card, but then obviously it's going to look yellow. The card is yellow. All right, so I'll get a picture of that and get it up on the group page. So happy we've been having a pretty good steady increase in members, so that's always exciting. All right, so we're gonna hop right in and talk about Virgo. I got about 20-25 minutes to discuss what I wanted to discuss with you in 45 minutes. My own fault. All right, Virgos. The number one thing I can tell you about a Virgo is they're fixers. They're kind of the Bob the Builders. They want to fix anything and everything. That is their job. So they definitely want to fix things. They want to have projects. They need to be busy. My husband, it's going to sound like I'm repeating Athena if you watched the video, but she said if you look up Virgo in the dictionary, you would see a picture of her husband. My husband's, it's pretty much the same thing. If you looked up Virgo in the dictionary, you'd see a picture of my husband. He is pretty much a classic Virgo. He obviously does have other signs and other placements, which changes him up a little bit. But for the most part, he is about as Virgo as a Virgo can get. So we'll go over a couple of things with that. Let's see here. I really need to go get my eyes checked, and I need to take better time when I write my notes. So yeah, they're the fixers. They are, and I'm not sure, we haven't really gone over the different kinds of like the fixed and mutable and cardinal of the signs. So I won't get too much into that, but Virgo is a mutable in the mutable, and they are an earth sign. So there are 12 signs, and 3 of them go to an element. So Virgo goes with the earth. So would be grounded people. They'll be pretty stable people. They'll be pretty focused and not focused. That's not what I want to say. They'll be pretty firm, stable people, I guess. But Virgo is definitely the fixer. One of the other signs that's close to a Virgo is a Capricorn. The slight difference is a Capricorn wants to do work and they want to be successful. So if you're not going to help them be successful, they don't really want anything to do with you. They only want people that are going to help them get to the top of the mountain. And if you're not going to help them get to the top of the mountain, then you're actually just taking up their time and they don't want to be bothered with you, because their whole goal is to get to the top of the mountain. A Virgo is very work-oriented as well, but they don't necessarily care about being at the top of the mountain. They don't care about being the boss. They don't care about, having a fancy title for their name. They don't care necessarily about being financially successful. They're very good with bills. Because again, they're very fix it. So like their checkbook needs to be balanced like at all times, like to the penny. And my husband is like that. Not to say that he's frugal or anything or cheap or anything like that, but his checkbook needs to be like balanced all the time. He needs to know exactly where his money is and where it's going and everything like that. It needs to be balanced. They want to fix things though, and I know I've said that a million times here, but they want to, when my husband and I first got together, I would come to him I'd get home at the end of the day and I would tell him about my crappy day, and he would get upset with me. And I couldn't, he didn't yell or scream or anything like that, but I could tell he was upset. I could tell he was agitated. And I couldn't figure out for the longest time why. And then I'm like, he thinks I want him to fix it. I had to tell him one day, I'm like, I'm just telling you my day. Like, I don't expect you to fix it. I don't expect you to go beat up the lady that was mean to me at the grocery store or anything like that. I'm just telling you about my day. Just listening to me is fixing it. And so that did get a lot better. But he feels the need to fix everything. And they're kind of traditional as far as relationships go, especially the men. The men want to be the men, and they want the women to be the women, typically. And that doesn't necessarily have to be you know, the actual sexes. It could be the identified as you identify as sexes. But for example, my husband, he's the man. He's going to be the one to take care. He's going to be the one to fix anything that's broken. Like, he's the man of the house. You know, he's the one that, he is the financial person. Like, and that's fine with me because I am so not a financial person. I am obviously the opposite. I have way too much. I just, money comes in and it goes right back out for me. And my checkbook is never ever balanced. And I've usually already spent part of next week's check before I get it. I'm horrible with money. So yeah, that's good that he likes to do that. Maybe we balance each other out on it a little bit. But hi Tara, how you doing this morning? I know my friend Tara is going through some tough stuff right now, and so I'm sending you all kinds of love to you. Okay, give you a big hug if I could see you. So we're talking about Virgo and how they like to fix things is pretty much as far as we've got. But that's really like the big thing. Like, they want to fix all the things. And they're not in it for success. They're not in it for glory. They're not even in it for money. They just want to fix things. They want to be in service. I joke, you know, I have like a list of things to do around the house and stuff. And somebody said to me one day, well, you're always having your husband do all these things. And I'm like, my husband is not happy if he doesn't have a project. I mean, sometimes he's like, complains a little bit because he's tired, which I get. But really, he is most happy when he has a project. He is not going to go to the beach. So I'll just go into that. Some of the things that the Virgos, you will not get a Virgo to do. And if they do, they're not going to be very happy about it. They do not like to take time off. My husband is horrible about taking time off. He has 180 something vacation hours and he never takes time off unless it's for a reason. If he has something he has to do or wants to do. Oh, the dog is awake. Everybody say morning, Neva. So yeah, he does not take time off. He is very happy going to work. Well, not really. None of us are really happy going to work, but he goes to work, and, you know, like anybody else, we all have bad days and good days and things like that. But I'll tell him, I'm like, you have time off. Take a day off. Oh no, too much to do, stuff to do, got to do this, got to do that. And for him to stay home and have a day of taking it easy when he knows there's a million things that he could be doing would actually just drive him nuts. So that's where I was kind of going with, like, he is not going to be sit on the beach and read a book, because that's not productive. It's not doing anything. So they will not like taking time off. They're not people that are going to spend a ton of time relaxing. Like, I love to sit on the couch and do Facebook. I love to sit on the couch and read. I like to sit on the couch and watch TV. That sounds horrible for me, but when I get home from work, that's what I want to do. I want to come in and sit down and relax and be comfortable. My husband gets home from work and instantly goes into what can he get done before it's too late. He wants to mow the lawn or paint the house or whatever project he's got going on at the time. They just want to go and fix and build and make things and have projects. Sometimes that can kind of go to the point where he gets very frustrated. Virgos will get very frustrated if they're very busy and you're not. And I do see this, and I'm using my husband, but he is a Virgo, and I am not a Virgo. But he gets very agitated sometimes. He's outside, and he's got a bonfire going, and he's cutting trees that are dead, and he's mowing the lawn, and he's picking up garbage that got on the lawn. We live by a busy highway. And a highway. And so there's always garbage on. So he's out there doing all these things, and he'll come in, and I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm either studying or reading or, usually I'm doing something. But he sees me sitting on the couch, and he gets very agitated because I'm not as busy as he's as busy. But that's his choice to be that busy. But where I was kind of going with that is they don't like it if they think you're lazy. If they think that they're being very busy and productive and you're not being as busy and as productive as them, they don't like that. Now, I have a little bit about that in me, and I'd have to figure out where that comes from in my chart. But I get like that a little bit at work, because at work we're crazy, and I am constantly working. I mean, I check my phone, I check Facebook once in a while and stuff, but I spend the majority of my 8 hours working. And sometimes I don't feel like people are working as hard as they should be, and that really bothers me. So I don't know where that comes from in my chart. I have Virgo in my chart, but not Virgo, a Capricorn in my chart, but I don't think that's where that comes from. So now I have something I can dig into and learn about me. But yeah, they don't like time off. They don't like relaxing. They're not going to be going to the spa. They're not going to be going to the beach. They don't want to just sit around and do things unless there's an actual purpose to something being fixed. For like TV with my husband, even that's kind of like we watch TV and we're watching a show, and we watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until it's bedtime or whatever. But it's about getting to the end. Like, we've started this season, we need to watch to get to the end. So even watching something as simple as sitting and watching TV is kind of a task, a project for him in a way as well. And sometimes they can come off as being selfish. But they're not really selfish, but they can kind of come off that way because, again, they expect you to be doing stuff all the time, and they expect you to be like them. And it kind of sometimes makes it seem like they're selfish, that they don't want you to do relaxing things. They don't want you to have fun. They don't want you to take time off. They don't want you to do these things. So it's kind of a weird, I don't know if selfish is really the right word, but I can't think of a better word to describe it right now. So, but selfish is the word I wrote, but I don't really know now that if selfish is the word I really want to use. But sorry, sometimes I get caught up on words because a single word can have so many different meanings, and I try very hard to be very precise in the way that I am describing things and talking about things, because I don't want there to be miscommunication, at least as little as possible. Sorry, my hair's still wet. So then I'll go over to, so that was kind of like the dislikes part of things that not their shadow part, things that they dislike. So they dislike taking time off. They dislike relaxing. They dislike laziness. So those are things that they don't care for. And they will, if you find a Virgo that does those things, there is obviously something in their chart that is way over, taking over that part of the Virgo of them. So, and if you've gone back and watched any of the other videos on any of the other signs, I do say that, and I'll say it again just to reinforce that. But when I'm talking about the sign, and you may be a Virgo and you're watching this and going, I'm not like that. That's not true. Or you might know a Virgo and say, that's not true. That's not true. That's not how they're like. It's very well possible it's because of where their other signs are and what those signs are. So they could be kind of overriding the Virgo part of the person. So this is just a typical Virgo. Like if they were all Virgo, this is what they would be. And pretty much that's like from my husband. He does have signs in other placements, but he's very much a Virgo. But if you're watching this and you're like, well, I'm a Virgo and I don't think I fit into that category, it's probably because you have something else in your chart that is changing that up for you. So some of the other things that about Virgos, because I really do have to, I'm sorry, I have to go fast, but I have to get to work, is they are perfectionists. They want things done and they want things done well. Like I said, they can be traditional, and the fact like of I was talking about with like marriage, a Virgo man wants to be the man of the house, wants to be the caregiver, the one that takes care of you. And traditionally, Virgo women, it's a little different because they want to take care, but in a different way. They're probably going to be the ones that are going to have the house clean all the time. The laundry is going to be washed, folded, and put away. Supper is going to be on the table. So they're going to be the traditional caregiver of, that a woman would do. Or my husband's always building something and fixing something and mowing the lawn, and he's very much like the man of the house. And the women, it's going to be the same. They're going to be very much the women of the house, the cooking, the cleaning. They're probably going to have the house very well decorated, all those kind of things. They can be critical. Again, and that goes back to they don't like anybody that they think is being lazy, and they don't like anything that they don't think you're doing as good of a job as you should. Like I said, they are the fixers. They're the project people, and they're very critical about when the project is not either on task or not on time, anything like that. They can be critical about that. They're very detail oriented. Again, that's what makes them really good at being the fixers and the project builders. They are analytical. Again, I can't read my own writing. They're very analytical. And again, I wrote tasks and projects because that's like the big thing with them. They want to have a task or a project. It's like into them. Like my husband will be like, oh, I just want a day to do nothing. But he doesn't. He'll say that, but if I told him he had to stay on the couch for the whole day and do nothing but watch TV, he'd go absolutely nuts. He couldn't deal with it. It'd drive him crazy. He'd be fidgeting. He would feel like it was a waste of his day. If my husband doesn't have like 5 projects done by 8 a.m., he thinks he's wasted the day. And that's not an insult, and I'm kind of making fun of him a little bit, but that's who he is, and I love him, and I wouldn't change him. But he feels like he needs to be doing something all the time. And I'm a Sagittarius who kind of just like, well, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll go over here, maybe I'll work on this. And so it's very different for us, the way we do things. But I think part of it that we do get along is my Capricorn moon, which is very focused and driven. But I also think my Sagittarius part of me helps him to go do some things that maybe he wouldn't necessarily go do. But his Virgo side kind of keeps me from just like blowing all my money on hitchhiking around the world, I guess, kind of stuff. So we kind of balance each other out, I guess, a little bit. Just real quick, I know I have like matter of minutes here, but they don't like to be bullshitted. They don't like to be lied to, and they kind of have like a built-in bullshit reader meter thingy. They probably do have a reader. They probably have a tool for that. But yeah, they don't like to be bullshitted. They don't like to be lied to, and they kind of pick up on that pretty quick if they feel like they can feel it that's happening. So don't try to sneak one by a Virgo, because it's probably not going to happen. I tell you, I'm like one of the world's worst liars. If I lie, I'm like, I can't look at the person. I'm fidgety. I'm like staring at the ground, looking at the tree, at the cloud, anything I can look at besides the person. So I don't typically lie. But if I had to lie to save my life, I probably would end up dead. So just real quick, going to go through some of the shadow stuff. Do want to touch on shadow stuff because we are in the shadow season. Not to say that the Virgo shadow is any worse or better than any of the other signs, but shadow people, yeah, okay, that's a whole nother conversation. Shadow people, Virgos with their shadows can be very cold. So if they get upset, again, if they feel like you're being lazy, if they feel like you're being not as productive as them, they feel like you're not on task, they feel like you've bullshitted them, any of those things that was in the dislike column for them, they're gonna flip that switch on you, and they're gonna go cold. They're gonna shut you out. And my husband does get like that. He gets upset and he goes quiet. That's it. Quiet. And for a long time, I was always like, are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? And over the years, I have learned just to let him be grumpy for a little while. And he usually comes out of it on his own. And when he doesn't come out of it, sometimes I don't, like I could say, stop being an ass. Stop being a jerk. What are you so pissy about? Kind of, but I don't approach it that way. I approach it with him. I just tell him, I said, are you going to be grumpy all day? And just sometimes pointing it out to him, the fact that he's being grumpy sometimes is enough to just get him out of that. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes he continues to be grumpy, and I just kind of have to let him be a little grumpy. They can hold on to grudges forever. But it's kind of a weird thing. Like, something could happen today and they'll totally let it slide. It's not a big deal, because what they hold grudges for is a little bit different than what a lot of other people would hold grudges for. But there could be something from 10 years ago that happened that they're still pissy about. They're still grumpy about. So their grudges are a little bit different than like mine is. If somebody is what I think is rude to me, I'm like, oh no, I'm not talking to her ever again. And he's not so much like that. So his grudges are like, people can be rude to him and that doesn't really bother him. But if he feels like somebody has really and to him has disrespected him, he holds that grudge for a while, which is a lot of Virgos. So their grudges are a little bit different than other people's, because their dislikes are a little bit different than other people's. So that's why. Let's see here. Some of them can be not very tolerant, again, which goes back to they don't like it if you're being if you're being lazy, or if you're relaxing, or you're not on task. They are not very tolerant of that. They can get grumpy and get cold. They can be very wounding. And again, this is true with my husband. Where a lot of us, like, I've been talking about people pushing my buttons and stuff. And my husband knows where that big red button is for me. And he won't go around pushing all these little buttons. If he's mad at me and he wants to be mad at me, he's going for the big red button right off. Yeah. So they can be very wounding with their words. And that is because they can be very precise. They, that whole fix-it project task thing, they know where the big red button is, and they know exactly how to push that big red button. Oh, the dog's blanket fell. And so their words can be very wounding. And that's hard sometimes. Like, my husband knows exactly what to say to get a reaction out of me, because I don't like to fight with him. And if he's grumpy, a lot of times I'm like, all right, whatever, be grumpy, do whatever you're going to do. And sometimes he gets snippy with me, and I try really hard to, just be like, okay, you're being grumpy. You're allowed to be grumpy. Something happened today to make you grumpy. That's fine. But then if he will get mad because I'm not fighting with him. So I'm not on the same project he's on. I'm not on task of fighting with him. And so he'll go for that big red button and push that button to get me to kind of blow my top, so to speak. But yeah, their words can be wounding. And the last thing I'm going to just go on, I had a couple of little more things, but the last thing is Virgos carry around a lot of shame. Virgo children, obviously Virgos start out as children before they become adults. And because Virgos are so task, project driven, they probably weren't the kids to just be running around having fun. And again, my husband was like such a typical Virgo. Like he spent a lot of time putting model cars together and model airplanes together. So very inward kind of projects, tasks, things that were keeping him busy, keeping him productive, and things like that. But he wasn't necessarily just running around and playing and, things like that. So because of that, Virgo children don't get all children get loved, but they don't get loved the same way. They're not like a sign that wants to cuddle and hug and do fun things and things like that. Not what a Virgo's doing for them is fun, So depending on what their signs of their parents are, if you have a Virgo parent and a Virgo child, that makes a very different scenario. But say you have a Pisces mom and a Virgo child. Like, a Pisces mom is going to want to do all kinds of, fun things and hug and cuddle, and the Virgo child is really not into that. So there's a million different scenarios from different signs and whatnot, and I can't go into all of those because I don't have time. But as children, they almost make it very hard for them to be loved. And so when they grow up, they really don't have that, I want to say grasp. That's not really the right word. They don't really have that understanding sometimes of how that can look, because they didn't really have that with their parents. And it's not anyone's fault. There's no one to blame. It's just how it is. And because a Virgo child was going to want to be working on something and doing something. And cuddling and sitting on the couch wasn't productive. So like this has been driven into them since like the day they were born. This is how they are. And so, you know, like sitting on the couch and reading a book with mom was not productive. There was no point to it. So their childhood probably looked a little different than a lot of other children. And so that kind of has carried over into their adulthood. And so sometimes they're a little harder to love. But they're worth it. They're definitely worth it. I think, and all the signs are worth it. You just have to understand where they are, where they're coming from, and why they do some of the things they do. I tell you, and I've told you guys this a million times, and I'll probably say it a million more times, knowing my chart has made a huge difference in the way that I am. Because when I tell you these things about the zodiac signs in your sign, it's not a permission slip to go do these things. Like I'm a Sagittarius, so being a Sagittarius doesn't mean that I can quit my job and travel the world because I'm a Sagittarius. Obviously, that's what I'm going to do. But understanding sometimes while I'm all over the place and scattered and stuff, it's because that Sagittarius is feeling a little bit trapped in me. So these are things for you to understand and to help you navigate through your life. And on the other side, learning my husband's chart and learning the Virgo in him has made it much, much easier for me to be understanding to him, to understand why he does some of the things he does and how he does some of the things he does. And it's made it easier for me to be a lot more accepting of those things for him. And so it has definitely helped our relationship. So get your natal chart and learn it, and then get your husband's or wife's or spouse's natal chart and learn it. And then even, if you've got children, learn it. My children are grown and gone, but at some point I would still be interested in learning their chart. But right now I'm still really working on mine. But definitely if you have children that are still at home and you're not really sure what's going on with them, it might be interesting to get their natal chart done and see what their signs are and where their placements are. And maybe as a parent, it will help you kind of figure out what's going on with them and what's happening with them and how you could be a better parent. Just like learning your spouse's chart can help you, be a better partner to them. So that is Virgo in a nutshell. A quick nutshell, so sorry. I did post Athena's video on Virgo, so you can certainly go back and watch that if you haven't watched it. But there's a ton of books out there on zodiac signs. There's YouTube videos you can watch as well. Or if you have any questions, you can just either put them in the comments or send me a private message. I've told everybody, but I'll say it again. If anybody needs help getting their chart or interpreting their chart, let me know. I will certainly kind of guide you through it. Basically what I would do is just how I've been kind of learning it. So like I picked 3 things to kind of focus on, which was my rising, my birth, and my moon sign, and I kind of learned about those. And then from there, I went to my Mercury, my Venus, and my Mars and learned about those. So I kind of broke it down that way. So I picked a couple things to learn about. And then once I felt like I kind of had a grasp on that, I moved on to the other, to 3 more things and so on and so forth. And so that's how I'm learning my chart. So and it's been working really well for me to learn it that way. So if you're interested in learning your chart, I would help you, walk through that. So with that, I have to say goodbye because I'm going to be late for work, as always. I'm not very good at this whole adulting, being responsible thing. I'm just really not very good at it. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I will try to get the replay watch party up at 7. I will try to make sure that I can invite people, and I'll try to make sure I can see your comments this time, because it's not very productive to do a watch party if I couldn't see your comments until after the fact. So that kind of defeated the purpose of me wanting to do a watch party. So I'll try to get that all figured out tonight for us at 7. And I hope everybody has a good weekend. And I'll see you guys all on Tuesday, as far as I know. And we're going to talk about Maybon. So have an awesome day. Love you. Remember, be kind. Your kindness your kindness will not only change your day, but it will change somebody else's day and possibly somebody else's life. So be kind. It's free. Thanks, guys. Love you. Bye.